And do you have like any tips, tricks, or hacks that people could use to find those good leaders? To maybe even where they've during interviewing, or perhaps maybe it's even you've got existing members of staff and transitioning them up. Like the next level, should we say? Like any advice for that side?
Yeah. So for leadership, I would lay out like what does a leader actually entail? What do you expect from them? Who are they going to be managing? What tasks are they responsible for? I mentioned like we talked to them about feedback. Like you got to come every day with feedback and ideas and looking for solutions. Don't just come to me with problems every single day. Tell me your idea of what those solutions are. And even if they're wrong, even if there's something you didn't think of that I correct you on, like that's how you get better. So we lay it out and we say, hey, this is what we're looking for. And we did the same thing. Like we have what we call senior bookkeepers at Econ Balance. And we had a list of this is what we expect from our senior bookkeepers. And we rattled off that list. We had a meeting with them and then we didn't just force them into it. We had them actually go and think about whether they actually want to be senior bookkeepers because it's optional. If you don't want to be a senior bookkeeper, we can find a different role for you. But once you accept it, it's very hard to go back. Like I've never had a situation where someone becomes a team leader and then down the line they're demoted and they still have a good role in your company. Usually that doesn't end well and they just have to leave for one reason or another. So for me, it's very important you get that decision right and you need to have someone that wants it. Hopefully they have past experience. That's not a necessity. We've trained people to become leaders. It's a little harder, but we want to let people know exactly what they're getting into, what the expectations are, and then we need to hold them to those expectations. Hey, if you have 3 people on your team and one person's messing up, one person's not following directions, that's on you, the leader. It's not something where you just let everyone go do their thing. Like you're responsible for those people. And we try to really ingrain that into their head and hold them to it from that second that they accept that role.
Is there any insights into that senior leadership side where like, obviously I appreciate you can't tell us everything, but like, is there an example where you talk about like, this is an example of our senior leaders, what we expect of them, or senior accountant or bookkeeper, so that we can get a feel for what that might look like in our own businesses?
Yeah, so this is the exact meeting I had yesterday with our senior meetings, senior one.
Yes,
So
great timing.
So the first thing we said is we expect them to be a positive force. Like business is hard, business is stressful, things happen, things are negative. Sometimes people will be having bad days, but if the 4 seniors are negative or the 4 seniors let drama go on or let someone talk bad about the company or whatever, like that goes through it. So we expect them to be a positive force every single day and help us turn negative things around and come in with a great attitude and to push each other. If one person's having a rough week, to tell them to go take a break, go take a walk, go take a long weekend, whatever it is, like refresh. Don't let anyone get to that point of burnout and keep everyone positive. Treat Econ Balance like it's your business. That means problems get solved. That means ideas and feedback come to the table. Just like Connor and I care about our clients, we expect you to care about the clients in the same way. Fix team issues that come up. If someone's not performing, we expect you to be the first line of defense there. Speak up and get everyone to communicate better. Communication is something we preach. So sometimes issues come up where things aren't communicated well or people aren't on the same page. We expect our seniors to enforce communication up and down the company. Set expectations with the team. That could be showing up on time, showing up to meetings on time. It could be speaking up before going down rabbit holes with issues, but hold them to these expectations. We can't manage our 15-person team. We need the seniors to be on top of that. Help us prevent the next issue. With every startup in year 1, there's a variety of issues. You don't really have the best processes. And we definitely learned that in Econ Balance. We had situations that could have been resolved better. And we want to get in front of those. We want to be proactive. We don't want to let things escalate. And sometimes you have clients, and we had this with FreeUp, we had this with Econ Balance, that are unrealistic or they do scope creeping or they're mean to people, like whatever the situation is. And instead of just letting these drag on, we need to reset those expectations with the client up front. And that's fair to the client too. You don't want to promise something that you can't do. So getting in front of those issues are early and they're our first line of defense there. We have a controller named Shelia. So the next thing is making sure everyone's following Shelia's processes. Don't make her repeat herself. Don't make her have to find the mistakes. You guys are on top of making sure everyone's following her bookkeeping process. Buy into company changes. Sometimes when you try to make big changes in the company, let's say time tracking, or you change a process, like you need the seniors to buy in. If the seniors don't buy in and they're whispering, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know if this is the best move. I don't know if we should be doing it this way. That trickles down to everyone else. So we need full buy-in for every single change that we make. If you guys think it's wrong, if you guys have issues with it, talk to us. We want to hear feedback. But when we make a change, the 4 of you guys are all in. And last thing is just get everyone to follow the Econ Balance way, which is really everything that we kind of went through. So that's the exact meeting we had yesterday. And we went through point by point. We answered questions, we clarified things, and we had them kind of think about it. And then we'll regroup next week and go through it again and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Oh my God, I love it. Question for you. Obviously, I have a team of VAs, and I'm sure a lot of other people have VAs as well, or have had them, and especially for the Philippines where a lot of the hiring happens. How do you get over the yes sir, no sir? Because it sounds like you have a great culture, you have a great environment, you have empowered people who are making decisions and doing stuff, not I need to be told what to do, I am a robot. Like, I'm not saying that they are like that, but that's probably a perception. And how have you overcome that? What tips can you advise?
Yeah, you got to break that early on. It's very tough to do it like when someone's been working with you for 3 months and you really depend on the seniors to do it. That was a great thing with Chiggy Ann with FreeUp. The first thing she would do with anyone added to our internal team was break that. Have a few meetings about it, explain to them it's unacceptable, we don't put up with it. If you do not be that yes man, do not be that robot. We want thinkers, we want problem solvers, we want someone who's coming to the table with ideas every single week, and we'll hold people to it. We'll call it out very quickly if it happens, and we won't work with people that have that mentality or that can't get over that very quickly. But you're right, that's definitely one of the most common things, and not only is it common in the Philippines, I think entrepreneurs really struggle with it and they let that go down really big rabbit holes. And if anyone listening joins FreeUp, so we do the interview, but then before we hire them, we go through expectations with them, and that's everything from the yes thing, but other things like what happens when you have a power outage or a family issue or whatever it is, and kind of nip all those things in the butt. And scare isn't the right word, but it kind of is. Like, you want to make sure they know exactly what they're getting into, because you would rather have them back out because they're like, hey, this isn't what I'm looking for, this job's not for me, I can't handle that stress, I'm not a thinker, whatever it is, than to spend 2 months training them only to figure that out later.
Yeah, I agree. And a question, final one on this topic. You said called it out. What does that mean?
That means like a quick one-on-one to address it right away. So if someone, like we had it today, we had someone who didn't follow a workflow that we had in ClickUp, and it's okay. Like, she's a great bookkeeper and it's probably an honest mistake, but we're not letting 2 weeks go by. We're meeting with her this morning to figure out why that happened and make it very clear, both from our controller and her senior bookkeeper, that cannot happen again, and that's not how we work. So those things need to be addressed very, very quickly. You can't let it just go on and on and on. Then it becomes very tough to change.
Probably one of the most common things we do as entrepreneurs, we're like, oh, it's okay, we'll let them do it. Like, no, you nip this in the bud, you call it out straight away. Like, you don't wait 2 weeks because it's just going to build a habit and carry on. So yeah, thank you so much. But that's sort of like FreeUp and processes. You sold that obviously for multiple seven figures, and obviously well done, inspirational, absolutely love it. And obviously came from the book selling Amazon game. Absolutely love it as well. You've gone into Ecom Balance. Tell me about that. Like, what is that about? Why doing that side?
Yeah, so I think Connor and I, we like big markets, but we also like very unsexy businesses. Like, hiring isn't the most sexy thing in the world. Same thing with bookkeeping. And most entrepreneurs hate it. And entrepreneurs should not be doing their own books. They should be hiring good bookkeepers that have a good monthly process. And I mean, there were a lot of things that helped us sell FreeUp, but the top two were having a really great team, which we talked about, but also the second one was having clean books. We had a bookkeeper from day one doing reports, even though we weren't profitable. The month would end. By the 15th, we'd get income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. We'd meet about it. We'd be able to make decisions based on what the numbers were telling us. And then when we went to sell the company, we had 4 years of books that were immaculate and clean going back from day one. And that's what helped us sell. And there's many reasons to have clean books, like tax season's less stressful. You can get funding, investments, sell your company. Although a lot of people don't even get that far. But the real reason to have good bookkeeping as an entrepreneur is to make good decisions every single month. If you're just guessing or looking at your bank account and making decisions off that, or waiting till the end of the quarter or waiting to the end of the year to look at your books, that's not going to work out well for you. And it's going to be harder and harder to make good decisions as you grow. Should you hire more people? Should you invest more in PPC? Should you cut software? Like, these are decisions that you have to make on a monthly basis as a business owner. And for us, e-commerce bookkeeping is hard. We know it. We were in the space, and most entrepreneurs struggle with it. And I think we also are not bookkeepers. My business partner and I, we're entrepreneurs. We speak entrepreneur. And I think a lot of bookkeeping companies from our market research that we did before starting it, they're not good at marketing, they're not good at SEO, they're not good at scaling, they're not good at hiring, and they're not good at speaking entrepreneur. They just speak bookkeeper to entrepreneurs, and that's why entrepreneurs get frustrated. So for us, we want to create that we're process driven. We want to create the simplest way for clients to get a quote, sign up, get integrated, get monthly reports so they can actually understand every single month, communicate with our team, and create a really good system that allows them to make good decisions every single month, and then obviously support them if they do need to get funding or sell their company or whatever it is.
You must obviously, you have a number of clients. You must hear some real horror stories about not doing good bookkeeping. And also you must have seen it when people come in. Can you share any?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. There's everything from someone's trying to sell their company, but obviously the buyer won't buy it without clean books. And then you've got 2 to 3 years of books to clean up, but that's not something a bookkeeper can do in 2 weeks. Like that might be 2 months of work, which is a long time to wait. Like the 6 months that it took us to sell Free Up was the most stressful 6 months of my life. And that's with clean, immaculate books that we didn't have to correct anything. So I can't even imagine getting to the end and having the books being the one thing that kind of hold up the deal. Then you'll get people who haven't filed taxes or have tax corrections. You'll have people that were doing cash basis, but that led to a really big tax burden and they need to be switched over to accrual. To me, like all of that is what it is. But to me, the scariest thing is you have people who've been running their business for years without actual books to make decisions on. So every single month, they're just guessing on what they should do, but they don't really know how much money they're making or losing or whatever it is. And that's a scary place to be as a business owner.
It's really like, because I sell on Amazon, and I know one of the biggest things that we do our books monthly, and I make a religious point of it. 15th of every month, first Friday, they need to be presented. Like, I want to know exactly where they are. And I know for myself personally, one of my biggest worries is we have great software which tells us profits, but stock goes missing, and we have to account for that actual cost of goods used, not the estimated, should we say. And sometimes you can see the variance in that because of supplier issues, deliveries, and it's like, oh my God, there's like a big problem here. And I'm guessing, have you seen, like, most people don't do it in like monthly basis. They might do it on a yearly basis, open and close stocks, for example. You must have seen some like horror stories in that respect where like, wow, I didn't actually make half as much profit as I thought I did. The software kind of lied to me, but didn't.
Yeah, it depends what software you're using. So I think a lot of people go into it where they're using software as like a replacement instead of doing bookkeeping. Like for me, everyone should be using either QuickBooks or Xero. Those are the top 2 bookkeeping softwares. And then you need a connecting tool to go to the marketplaces like A2X or Link My Books or whatever it is that you use. So that's like the core, but there's lots of other softwares out there that show you sales, that show you inventory, and those might be great on like a day-to-day or week-to-week decision making, but it doesn't replace monthly bookkeeping. And then the real wild card is every e-commerce business is just a slightly different business model, whether it's wholesale, reselling, private label, whatever. And then obviously they buy inventory in different ways. They keep track of inventory in different ways. So that's where it kind of gets complicated. And you just have to put yourself in the best position to be able to make decisions with a good monthly bookkeeping setup. And these are things we go over with a kickoff call with clients that's just very company specific to make sure that we're giving them the data that they need every month to make decisions and obviously make sure that that data is accurate.
I appreciate obviously you're doing bookkeeping for e-com clients. That's the kind of the market. When would someone be right for your business and when would someone not be right for your business? Like, what would be the factors?
I'll also add, we just launched a second bookkeeping brand called Accounts Balance. That's for like agencies and softwares and non-e-com. That's a little easier and simpler than e-commerce businesses. But yeah, I mean, our monthly minimum for e-commerce businesses is $3.99 a month. So usually if they're doing less than a few $100,000 a year, that's not the right fit for them for whatever reason. For non-e-commerce businesses on Accounts Balance, our minimum is $2.99. So it can be a little cheaper, maybe a little smaller businesses. For us, like I always hire a bookkeeper from day one before we're profitable. Like with Free Up, the best decisions I've ever made in my whole entrepreneur career was hiring a bookkeeper from day one on Free Up because we didn't do that for our Amazon business. And it created a whole mess that we had to go back and suck time and money and energy. And we were getting monthly reports before we were even profitable. But we used those reports to make good decisions and to grow the business. And then when we went to sell it, we were very happy that we hired that bookkeeper. The other thing I'll add is if you're going to go out of business, it's not going to be because you hired a bookkeeper too early. Bookkeeping is very cheap, especially compared to like CPAs or lawyers. We're talking hundreds of dollars every single month. So in a year, you're only spending thousands of dollars on bookkeeping. Like if your business fails, it's not going to be because of that bookkeeping expense. But your business could fail because you're not making good decisions because you don't know what's going on every single month. So to me, just like filing for an LLC or having a CPA or having QuickBooks or like having whatever the basics are of any company that you start, a bookkeeper is in that because I would never start a company without having a bookkeeper going from day one, even though it's an expense that I might not be able to quote unquote afford from day one.
No, I love it. I love it. Thank you. And is there any situation like that someone probably wouldn't want to use a service like yours? Like, let's say, for example, if I've just started my account yesterday, should I sign up tomorrow? What would your advice be?
My advice would be like, we do have new, usually it's veteran entrepreneurs that have learned the hard way what I just said, that you need to hire a bookkeeper from day one and they'll hire us from day one. But even if you're not going to use us, you still should hire a bookkeeper from day one, a good bookkeeper from day one. You should not do the books yourself. That's a waste of your time. You're probably going to end up having to pay someone to go back and fix it anyway. Don't go out there and take a course on how to use QuickBooks. That's a crazy thing to do as an entrepreneur. Don't do that. But whether you use my service or someone else's, you should be hiring a bookkeeper from day one. And I think veteran entrepreneurs that start new companies know that, even if there's low profit, no profit, or they're not sure of the business, they just know that a bookkeeper is, like I said, a core necessity in any business that you start.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think also from reflection of my own journey, my first year was unprofitable in Amazon. And had I been on top of the accounts better, I would have known that a lot sooner, and I would have made better decisions sooner in my journey to correct me in the right path. And I think it's a really interesting point. I think for us, like, we try and cut costs, but having key insights into your business is a very key metric. And ultimately, the reason why we do this is not for shiny orange, yellow bars, is for profitability in the bank at the end of the month, end of the year, and having and changing our business. By the way, our business is always changing, but having the right metrics that track us towards that change, even if we're unprofitable now, going towards it is so key, because all we're doing is delaying how long it takes us to get there. So we're going to pay either in losses or we're going to pay in service fees, but the difference is how quick we can make a change. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Once you actually start looking at, I was going to say, once you start looking at your reports every month, you start to see things that you wouldn't otherwise see, and it's going to help you make those decisions. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I completely. If anyone wants to get in contact, what's the best way to reach out to you, to learn more? How can they do that?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to connect with me, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Nathan Hirsch. Love just networking with other entrepreneurs there. You can check out Outsource School. We got some great free resources there. You can grab my hiring packet to help you. If you're an e-commerce business looking for bookkeeping, go to ecombalance.com. Non-e-commerce, go to accountsbalance.com. And yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Fantastic. If anyone wants to know, I'll drop all the links down below so you can access them as well. But Nathan, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And obviously, good luck with everything with, should we say, Ecom Balance and what you're going. Obviously, I know you're super successful, but I'll be very interested to see how this goes. Obviously, this venture as well. But thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.